This is 69 News Live at Sunrise. Your life, your world, your news. 69 News Live at Sunrise starts now.
Well, many classrooms have changed a lot lately. These days, a lot of colleges and universities are forced to serve more students with less money. Here to explain what's changing in the classroom is Professor Charles Molano from Lehigh Carbon Community College. Professor Molano, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Thanks for being here this morning. So, there's a lot of pressure, as we all know, these days on our education system. Schools, as I mentioned, are asked to do more with less money oftentimes and prepare students for the 21st century workforce. What are some of the pressures that you as an educator are seeing or have seen over the past couple of years?
It is unfortunately because many of the students that used to come are unable to come because they don't have the financial aid or the resources to be able to be educated full-time, nor for them to be able to come to campus. They need to drive their cars, and as they drive their cars, is gasoline involved. So now they are resourcing to online courses, which really benefits them greatly.
Yeah, and as a professor, how great is the need for, changing things up a bit? What have you seen in your classroom with your students?
Oh, it is huge. Yeah. It's huge. Now we're talking about the I generation. I cannot live without my phone. I sleep with my phone, and therefore they identify tremendously with the opportunity that they get to do homework and do everything online.
Yeah, I guess teachers such as yourself have really you've had no choice but to stay up to date with modern technology, right?
Yes.
You can't not, message people and email everything,
I have to keep up with the students, and a little bit more, yes.
Sure. How do you think we're doing, Professor Molano, as, a teacher of higher education? How are we doing in the United States compared to the rest of the world? Do you think other countries are dealing with similar, factors these days?
We have to count our blessings that we have here in the United States, because many countries do not have what we call the financial aid. Their financial aid comes because of their families, and then not every family has the resources for the students to be able to attend university. When we talk about our students to be able to take courses nowadays, we have to look at it from a different, perspective.
So what made you, as a professor, think, okay, I got to do something here and implement some online programs to my course because the old way is just not cutting it anymore? When did you decide to do that?
It was mostly because of the students' complaints, if I may say that. The length of time that it took between the students doing their workbook, submitting it for me to looking at it, to be able to grade it, and then to turn back. So that takes a very long period of time, and then by the time that the student was able to receive his or her workbook back, the theme of the question, it was totally forgotten. So I needed to think something that it was an instant feedback. And this is what the students love about in the technology. They're able to get an instant feedback. Am I doing it right now? The system is going to tell you yes or no. Okay, so it's time for me to redo it all over again.
Yeah, great. So it's just, like you said, instant, and they can see those, see how they're doing in a second. So explain the program that you chose to use. It's called MySpanishLab. It's by a company called Pearson, for the teachers watching who might want to know. How does it help you? How does it work in your classroom?
Yes. As I attended some of the conferences and as I talked to many different companies, finally I was able to find something that it was really feasible and doable, that the students will like and will enjoy very much. So I brought back with me MySpanishLab. It is an interactive system where I am able to upload the exercises, the exams. Inside the program, we have a tutoring system that if the student happens to have questions, he or she does not know exactly what is taking place, then he or she is going to be able to get answers. Also, inside the program, the student is able to see his or her grades Also, I am able to see when the student himself or herself is submitting work for me.
Okay.
It allows me to tell when the student is submitting their work on time or when they are submitting their work late.
Okay.
And when they submit their work late, they need to email me and justify the reason why their work is late. Now, these online courses, the majority of the students who are taking it, they are return adults.
Okay, so it's
Yes, as students, they unfortunately many of them have been displaced from work, and their full-time job right now is trying to find work. So I am not surprised when the students turn their work about 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 in the morning, that they are taking their exams at 4 in the morning. I totally understand that. So as long as they are able to explain to me, hey, listen, I was working or I was doing this and that, I am able to accept the work. Otherwise, their work, it comes, normally with no problem, and I get the opportunity to grade it. Also, inside the program, it has the email, so it is inside. So we don't need to use any outside sources. Everything is kept inside.
So it sounds like it just really improves communication between the teacher and all of the students. And speaking of students, coming up in just a few minutes, we'll hear from one of Professor Molano's students about how this software and this kind of online learning has changed the student's life as well as Professor Molano. So we'll talk about the impact when we come back right after this. Stay with us. All right, Rick, thank you. Well, Lehigh Carbon Community College has just been featured in a report highlighting the success of an online course. Professor Charles Molano says after he implemented a program called MySpanishLab, his students' final grades increased dramatically. Professor Molano joins me once again along with one of his students, Brooke. Folks, good morning. Thanks for being here. So we're talking about the need, Professor Molano, to implement an online course to, the standard teacher in front of the student classes that you've taught. And you said, we were saying during the break, I graduated from school in 2003 from college, which wasn't that long ago. But, the day we took notes in a notebook, I said I probably sound like a grandma saying this, but those days are over, right?
That is correct. Nowadays the students just take their notepads. Everything's computerized. Students don't take books any longer to the classroom. They just have the electronic book with them.
And other teachers, you said, now this is relatively new that you've implemented it in your classroom, doing an online course, but a lot of other teachers, of course, already have. Right?
Oh yes. Many other courses and professors have adopted the online. It is very convenient, not only for my students, but for other courses as well. Whatever they are doing. Yeah.
Sure. So, Brooke, tell us a little bit about your situation and why the idea of an online course was appealing for you.
I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
And it gives me the flexibility to study during the summer and take classes continuing that while they're home, and to study when I need to and do it at my leisure, I guess.
Yeah, now for people like us who are used to the classroom, was it weird at first, not being in the classroom setting?
It's different. I was skeptical. I didn't know if I would be able to learn as much without the face-to-face and without the other students, but the resources are great. The communication with the professors is almost immediate, with email and things like that, and there's chats with the other students and tutors and things online that really help.
Yeah, I was going to say, some of your favorite features, would you say just having that interactive support and instantaneous support is the best thing?
And also that I can work at my own pace and kind of take time when I need to and use the tutorials when I have questions. And
yeah. And Professor Molano, Brooke's a perfect example of kind of who this is designed to help, right?
That is correct, yes, yes.
And you still teach some courses that are face-to-face.
That is correct.
What is your advice for folks who might be watching thinking, I'm not sure if I'm an online learner, maybe I'm a face-to-face learner? It really depends on your situation, right?
That is correct. Not everyone is made to be an online student. You have to have a rigid schedule, because if you do not, pretty soon all the work is going to pile up, and work starts piling up. Pretty soon you're going to become overwhelmed, and then you're going to feel like a failure that simply, you just simply cannot do it no more. But it is just in that schedule.
Yeah. So Brooke said, she's liked learning this way. Have you liked instructing this way? What kind of impact has it had on you as an educator?
Yes, I do very much enjoy it. teaching online. Some of us says it's a lot of work. Yes, most definitely. Because the face-to-face, once you leave your classroom, you left your classroom. But online students, I can go home, I can turn my computer, and there is always work for me to be doing there. There is always an email from a student that has questions they would like to have answers, and therefore it is my duty as an educator at whatever time I am able to communicate with the student to provide those answers.
Yeah, and you saw some pretty dramatic results when it came to grades. Tell us what you saw.
Yes, because of the workbook taking so long, the students lost interest. But now being able to have this instant feedback, the student feels motivated. And therefore, because of the motivation, the grades were able to go up to 17%.
Wow.
Yeah,
Pretty great.
to me, it is a show of how good the technology it is, and also it shows me how the student is able to embrace these new technologies. They can identify with it.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us. Sounds exciting. Seems like anyone can go back to school these days,
indeed.
right?
Yes, indeed.
And Brooke, do you think you'll take another course like this again?
I think so, definitely.
Great. All right. Well, thanks for sharing your stories and for all the work that you guys do. We appreciate it. Stay with us, everybody. We are coming right back after these messages.